Okay, cool. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining me this morning. I had to kind of do a short, I wanted to do kind of a longer broadcast, but I had to make it kind of short. But yeah, I had a few questions that were kind of cool. Chuck was asking if the ribbon was the wrong way, and he said, it's kind of a weird question because the ribbons are two-sided. And yeah, I don't think, there are some ribbons that sound different depending on the side that you address them, based on where the ribbon is positioned to the magnet. It's kind of like offset towards the back, and so it can change the tone. But I don't think so. But we'll see. We'll try this ribbon out and see how it goes with maybe a different position or something. Somebody asked, what kind of Yamaha speakers are those, and what adapters do you use to connect them to the monitor controller or interface? Well, I don't know what you mean by adapter, but they are Yamaha NS30Ts. So NS30Ts. And they're passive, so they hook up to an amp of some sort, a receiver, an amp, whatever. And then the out of your interface goes to that amp to go into the speakers. Diego talks about Carter McLean using the Audioscape EQPA to add in some top end. We actually could do that. That's one of the things I want to try, actually, is kind of adding some top end, see how well it takes some EQ. So, yeah, if you're here, let me know in the chat. Marcin, how you doing, man? Yeah, so I'm just kind of playing around with some mics. I mean, not really much of a plan, but yeah, so we have the Stager. It is, Garrett told me what the name of this mic was. It is the SR2N. SR2N by Stager. It's going to the AEA RPQ2. No EQ settings. It's a passive microphone. So yeah, this is kind of what we did this morning. So yeah, pretty simple, just a single mic over the kit. How you doing? Hey, Ivan, Marius. Let's see here. Oh, so you like the OC818? Yeah, I've actually tried the Austrian Audio OC818. Sometimes I thought it sounded bright. Sometimes I thought it sounded dark. So overall, I thought it was a really solid mic. But to me, I wanted something maybe just a little bit more, just warmer on the drums, meaning more 200 kind of hertz, more like kind of meat of the snare. Hey, John. Hey, Anton. Yeah, real recording, real music. Yeah. It's crazy how, like, I'll see a post about, like, people mixing drums, and it's just like that kick drum doesn't even sound like it was recorded at your studio. It just sounded so good. And I think there's something really cool about, if you use samples for drums, you could actually make your own samples, and then at least you get the consistency of the samples or whatever your draw is to using samples, but at least it didn't sound like kind of odd because it was recorded at Ocean Way, and then you have the rest of the drum kit recorded at your house. I was thinking about this earlier. It's kind of like it's kind of like a stock photo where, you know, there's like a photograph of people sitting around you know, at a board meeting or something, and it just looks too good, you know. And if you were to buy that picture and put it on a website, it's just like, you know, does this guy take his own pictures, or does he just buy this for $1? And, you know, there's something to be said that you can create your own stuff and it look good, you know, and aesthetically it kind of has to fit in. So I think that with samples, you know, it's kind of hard sometimes to make it actually work with the real organic type sounds that you have going already. Oh man. Wow, Anton. Yeah, so he just closed his studio because of COVID. Man. But you know what? I think, I don't know, just hang in there, man. I mean, I don't know what to say, but I think we're all just kind of riding this along, and I think, you know, doing a mic test is kind of where we're all at. You know, it's like, what do we do? I mean, you know, let's just set up some mics and, you know, make some noise and see how it sounds. I mean, I'm not really recording any bands because it's like, you know, nobody's really traveling or wanting to come in. And so yeah, Ivan says, what's a good all-rounder mic for a studio? I would say that would be an SM7B with a Soyuz launcher. I mean, that's right off the bat. That is such a great mic and a great just a great combo. The launcher does a really good job of complementing the mic. I don't know what it's doing, but I tried it against the RPQ2, the AAA preamp, and it's designed for ribbon mics, passive mics, you know, high impedance, and it did well. But the Soyuz launcher actually added some high end and clarity, and I don't know what the impedance is or whatever, but it just really does a nice job. You know, I hear a lot of talk about like cloud lifters and such. You know, to me, the cloud lifter just didn't sound like my pre's anymore. It almost was like, I don't know, like it just sounded maybe either slower or not as rich sounding or something. It just kind of lost the identity of, you know, kind of the sound of the preamps. And to me, I was like, well, I wonder why that would be. And I think that the launcher, I think it I don't know if it's just kind of keeping things all high quality. If you have like discrete preamps, then you have something like the launcher, and yeah, it doesn't get in the way basically of a sound. So yeah, SM7B would be my first choice. If you can't do that, I mean, even an SM57 would work. But you need something that, hey, Will, that is going to be somewhat kind of mid-heavy. So not too colored in the top end, not too colored in the low end. So obviously you're not going to use a Beta 52 on vocals, right? Or you're not going to use like a small diaphragm for literally everything, because, you know, it might be too bright on some sources. So you need you really need a mic that does really well, kind of somewhat neutral, somewhat vanilla sounding. I have an old 414, a BUOS from the 1980s, and that does a great job of layering. So yeah, let's have some fun here. John, I haven't tried that Cathedral Pipes Durham. That sounds interesting though. I don't know if that's an IR or what. But yeah, let's have some fun with some mics. I'll take another break in a little bit to, you know, answer some questions and stuff. But yeah, if there's any audio issues, let me know. Hopefully my level of the actual content and live microphones and such is a little bit more balanced. Octava mics, you know, I've used Octava like once, like several years ago. And it was pretty good, but I didn't have much to compare it to at the time. I mean, just even a few years ago, it's like I didn't have a matched pair of large diaphragms, you know? So I used my ribbon, I used MS if I needed condensers as overheads because I didn't have a matched 414. So yeah, well, I really like this EQP-A by Audioscape. It's just very, very smooth. And I want to actually kind of do some really cool next level stuff with it. So if you hang around, you know, I try to insulate myself quite a bit just to kind of see where my mind goes. And I don't know, just try to preserve like kind of a thought and let it kind of simmer and develop for a while. And I mean, I don't know if anybody has done this sort of thing that I'll be trying tonight, but it's just something that I kind of have been playing around with. Let's put it that way. So I'm not sure if it'll be new for you or not, but it certainly is new for me because I just kind of like simmered on it and I'm like, hey, what about this? What about this? And then it led to a technique tonight where we are nulling and EQing at the same time. So it's like a null EQ method. So yeah, Declan. Well, yeah, crazy as in the null EQ. So, you know, it's really cool. You can do it with plugins. You can do it with Outboard. My thought was to do it with Outboard because if you're using the tone, then there's all sorts of really cool things that you could be doing with it. So, but yeah, let's get back to the mic and see what we got going here. So we have the Stager, we have the Signal Art U47. Now, one thing I wanted to try though is to actually maybe set up this Stager because I think it does really good with like the lows. So yeah, as far as I know, I mean, this is, what's funny is the manual doesn't say which is the front of the mic, which, you know, that's cool. Just say, you know, it doesn't matter if you do back or front. It would have been nice to know which is positive side up for polarity. That would have been good to know, but I've used it with people addressing the label and it sounds great. So used it for trumpet the other day on a live broadcast for a band that I did, and I recorded the whole thing and I'm kind of mixing it down for the band just kind of as a, I don't know, I just wanted to help out the band and they haven't played a show and I'm like, well, you know, I got this video switcher, I could totally like host you guys. That's what we did. It was a lot of fun. But I recorded it, and it sounds great. Came out really nice. Okay. There we go. So yeah, I'm thinking this might be really cool. This mic, as we saw, sounds really nice with the kind of lows. And could be actually really amazing at this position. I've learned that the more front you get this mic towards the front of the bass drum, the better it tends to kind of balance itself out with elements of the kit. Make sure I'm in focus here. Okay, nice. Okay, so gain settings, probably can dial it back a touch. Trying to think if there's anything I need to do. I think we're still hooked up. One. Okay. Just kind of play something and see how this sounds at the drums. Oh, nice. Okay, so we didn't clip. That's good. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's compress this thing here. Let's see. That sounds amazing. Yeah. So let's see here. Okay, cool. Let me try laying down maybe a little bit different kind of passage here. Okay. Yeah, I should probably boost it up a bit more. It sounds really good. I mean, it's really dark, to be honest. So where are we going out of 6? 8. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I just added a pipeline XT. Specify the in and out. So I have the input, output 8. So input, output 8 right here. Then I just ping it. And we're all good to go. Now we're perfectly synced. We can do a wet dry mix. If I try to T-towel on the snare and toms, yeah, I've done stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds cool. It'd be super dark for this though. It's almost like this is giving us that sound. Okay. Man, that kick is just nuts. It sounds so good. I mean, that's about where I'd want it, which is all the way up at 8K. It's pretty nuts. I could try this EQ, this, not EQPA, but the AEA. So instead of the EQPA, let's see here, we can do the what out should I do? I don't know if it really matters. Pre-out. And 12. Okay, so line is enabled. We can go ahead and just add another, whoops. Add another pipeline XT. Ah, it's a beautiful thing when you see it come back like that. Otherwise, just like, okay, where did the signal go? Try +2 boost, +2 a 10 at 60 hertz. Okay, I'll try that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Clang Boom Music. Yeah, you know, I just thought it'd be really cool just to like, I don't know, I'm just overwhelmed with stuff to edit. Like, there's so much to do. So this is just a way that I can, you know, just have some fun with you guys. Because, like, it's not fun if I'm just buried in editing. So, you know, at some point I just have to, like, open up the channels and say, hey, let's just play around with stuff. Okay, so this, let's label this here. This is the EQP-A. This is out 6, so this is the successor. And then rename, this is going to be the RPQ2. Now, sometimes there's a pop when I like just completely turn off the plugin here. So I'm actually going to be using like the dry wet instead of just totally you know, instead of just totally just turning it off. So here it is raw. Okay, here it is with some compression. The pipeline is blurred out because I'm not displaying the picture, I think. What am I doing? Right, okay, so it's displaying the graph instead. And, but this was actually a blurred photo. So this is my default. That way it kind of shows something that looks cool. But what I could do though is, this is the successor. So we actually could load in a picture. I have a whole folder of this. So pictures of gear. There we go, successor. So now when we actually see it, we actually are looking at the piece of gear. And that's it's really nice because visually you kind of know like what's going on. RPQ. I don't know if I have a picture of the RPQ2, but okay, so nothing on the EQ so far. Let's go to the RPQ2, which is a really sometimes aggressive top boost, but we'll see how it does. Okay, so I'm just gonna making sure that I'm not clipping the input here. But yeah, this RPQ2, it sounds really nice. I mean, it's designed for ribbons, so I mean this boost really works quite well. This low pass filter is a 3 dB per octave high pass, which I have no idea how you make that, because if you put a capacitor and a resistor, I don't know I forget what it is, but a first order high pass is like 6 dB, and then it goes to 12, and then 18. So I have no idea how they made a 3 dB per octave high pass, but it's really cool because it's super gentle. It's almost like it's not even there kind of thing. And then this is like well, no, it's not a tilt EQ, I don't think. It's just kind of a really, really high boost. You know, it goes up to 30K, which is crazy. But that sounds nice. Okay, here it is again. Okay, so that's what this can do, and that sounds really nice. You know, if I were to use this, I would do a little bit of the high pass, just because that mic is really amazing in the low end. I mean, wow, that's a lot of low end. But yeah, that's what I would do with this. It's kind of a workable, usable sound, I guess. Let's go on to the EQPA and see what I would do with that. So, quick note, this is a totally different sound, if you notice. It's almost like a totally different vibe and character. It's crazy how different that kind of sounded. Like, it was almost like it went into like a more of a mid-rangey kind of saturation thing. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. The AEA almost sounded like it wasn't there, like it's almost not a part of the signal path, and this is definitely adding flavor. Yeah, that actually sounds really nice. So who is it? Will? So yeah, I was doing the +2, -2 thing at 60. Yeah, thanks, Will. Yeah, I really like it. You know, one thing that I've been kind of practicing, it kind of like me goofing around on a random you know, Wednesday, say, is like I'll sit here and I'll be like, okay, let's do various attenuation and boosts, but try to pick a point to listen and try to match the same amount of those frequencies. So if it's 60 hertz or whatever, try to get it so it's like equal amount of low end, but it's just a different curve. It's like been mangled through the EQ, but it still has the same amount of low end. Okay, so you're kind of hearing not the difference in frequencies, you're hearing the actual sound of the EQ, I guess, or you're hearing like the curve of it, you could say. So +2 boost at 8K, at 10 at 10K. Okay, I'll come back to that one in a second. Let me try this one thing where I'm matching the low end here. Yeah, you hear how I kind of have it matched where the meat of that kick drum is the same, but it's scooping and processing the sound in a different way. In fact, a more fair comparison would be to only have that, take out the high-end boost. Now, this is really interesting because I was talking to Charlie from Audioscope about this, and I'm like, dude, like, what's going on here? Because sometimes I notice a difference in the high end, and I think that's something to do with the passive nature of the EQ, and it's also kind of the, I don't know, like the mythical status of it or something. It's like you can kind of get lucky. Like there's some devices that are like very clinical and designed to do very specific things, and you kind of expect what they're going to do, and they usually will deliver, and kind of, you know, you get fast and you're able to work pretty fast. But with this, it's like you kind of have to just be up for ideas. Like it'll give you feedback, and it'll kind of surprise you. Like you have happy accidents. So the high end is changing, right? We engage the low end and it affects the high end. So I don't know if it's eating up the headroom, you know, like, because if you do like a big boost on a passive EQ, then it just basically, I think, just drops down everything to be able to make that boost. It's how they're designed, I think. But again, like there's lots of interactivity between these knobs, which I think is just really cool. So yeah, adding harmonics. Okay. Yeah. Let me actually mix in some of this top end boost from here and kind of share the load. And what we're going to do is that way I can still do this experiment, but just hear stuff clearer. Okay, so I'll call that balanced, quote unquote balanced, okay? So that's our kind of starting point, I guess. Of course, I had the Pultec on, but... Okay, so that'll be our starting point. Now let's see, with this method, see how it sounds. So just to clarify, it can attenuate more than it can boost, I believe. I think it's like what, like plus 12 here, negative 18 ability here. So you can cut a lot more than you can boost, and that's why these don't match. And these don't even line up necessarily, which is kind of the magic. So they're not going to just cancel out, right? So it's not like you're not boosting if you just null the movement. It doesn't cancel out your efforts. So let's see here. So let me do that again. Yeah. So I actually got it backwards. You have to crank the attenuation all the way up, and then there's still room to spare on the boost, so it can boost more than it can attenuate. But hey, can somebody just like say something in the chat to make sure that my end is still like updating? Because I've had it once where it kind of like quits updating my chat. So if you would say hello to me in the chat, so I know that the chat on my end is still working. So, so from here we have our sound, and what I want to do is kind of explore the idea of using wet and dry. Okay. So let's take this. All right, cool. Yeah, seems like the chat's working. Cool. So we have our wet dry. Yeah. Now here's the interesting thing is this phase flip. Okay. I don't know why they included that, but it's brilliant. Okay. I don't know if I'm like reading their mind and we're on the same page with this, but when I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cool. You know, for me, at first I thought of it as like, okay, I'll do that to 50%, null out my returning signal, and then I know about when I'm matched, 50-50, when it pretty much nulls out, But here's the thing, is that what if I just leave it like that? Like, for the mix, I don't return it back. So, this is where stuff gets interesting, because with an EQ, I'm not exactly sure the exact EQ circuits, but in general, the way it works is you split a signal, you shift phase on parts of the signal, and then when you add it together, there's either a boost or a cut, okay? Because this phase difference between two signals. So what we're doing is we're actually taking two signals, wet and dry, we're inverting one side, and then you'd think it'd cancel out all the way, but we're going to be boosting, cutting, things like that. So it's going to actually be doing things unexpectedly that we're not thinking of doing. Okay, let me just play around here. Okay, so if it's quiet, it's supposed to be quiet. That's at 47%. More towards the, well, it's like this return signal is a little hotter, basically. But that's my null, right? So this is like 50-50. And then at 47, we have basically a 50-50 mix. Okay, and I don't have a trim on the out of the EQPA, so I can't trim it, but that's 50%, okay? When it says 47, it's 50%. And it's not exactly perfect. I mean, I'll ping it. Yeah. But we can see it's like, it's showing that it's out of phase and it's perfectly aligned. So this is where stuff gets interesting. Okay, mind you, that's an attenuation of the low end, and we get more. So, and we don't even have to leave it at 50-50. We could do a mix of this stuff, and it changes. The same settings on the EQ, it changes. So it's almost like the EQ, the boost causes it to be a 50-50 mix at about here. So it's going to cancel out the low end at this point. And then maybe the high end is going to be canceling out here, okay? So now it's no longer a 50-50 split right down the middle of the dry-wet knob. We actually have it canceling out and nulling at different spots of the dry-wet. I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do with this, but one cool thing that I've kind of been able to get in the past is to get a really cool sounding boost in the low end, but also have like a really tight sound. So it's not flabby, but it's super, super tight. So towards the right is the EQ, towards the left is dry, unprocessed, and somewhere in the middle, depending on what the EQ is doing, boosting, cutting, variations of, it's canceling out at different parts of the knob. Okay, very, very interesting. So it's not just a matter of like boosting, cutting, you know, getting different like weird variations and happy accidents, but it's also like playing around with the dry wet. So I don't know what else to explore as far as EQ. We'll just kind of like run with that for now, or maybe we'll just kind of take it out. Yeah, we'll just kind of leave it dry for now, I think, because I want to show you the compression. And we've been doing this with EQ, okay? So we have a dry wet signal, half of it's going out, and we're canceling parts of the signal out. But with compression, it's dynamic. So instead of frequency, certain frequencies getting canceled out, it's dynamics, right? And yeah, Aaron, the Reaper, the in-out plugin, you know, like Logic has in-out plugin, you know, Logic actually has a really nice like MS button. It's like a little switch. You just put it on. But yeah, Studio One here, I really like kind of the interface, the look of it, stuff like that. So going over to the successor, same concept, okay? We're gonna cancel out the sound. And, you know, we could say 50%, flip the polarity. Yeah, so we're coming in opposite polarity. And we could try to match the sound, okay? So, I don't know, it depends on what you want to cancel out. You can cancel out the sustain, the room sound, you can cancel out the attack. You can kind of see where I'm going with this, is we're basically creating a transient shaper from scratch. So we're canceling out parts of the sound, we're flipping polarity on the return, mixing wet and dry, and we're getting really interesting results. Okay, well, maybe I need to just come back to this. You know, that's the idea. It sounds cool. I'm just not sure where I'm going with this. So let's see here. Let me just put it back to kind of a usable setting here. Yeah, so Aaron asked, have you ever thought about getting the decomp from Audioscape or the successor? Handles everything that you'd need from a stereo diode comp. Decomp is on next on my list. Man, the decomp was really, really quite unique, I thought. I have limited experience with the decomp. See here, they have a V-comp, which is like that Varimu tube compressor, but it's the decomp that has like the meters that kind of swing to the sides, and it's very reactive. So I would say that if you want recallability, go with the successor. If you want tons of flavor, go with the decomp. The decomp, I think, would be amazing. The one thing is that you just have to make sure that you make note of your settings. So I don't know. Like it was like 2 years ago that I got to kind of play around with it. It was really, really nice. It sounded really good. But as far as recallability, I don't know how well it works to be able to recall different settings for like a mix, stereo bus compressor. The successor, though, I mean, everything's detinted, so there's a limitation as far as like the amount of settings. But at the same time, it's a very, very wide ability as far as the types of sounds it can get. Just to kind of like do a quick overview of what it could do. In general, the flavor, a lot of times is from the ratio. So if I want kind of some control, then I'll go more to like 4:1, 6, or infinity to 1. If I want more of an open sound, then I go more to 3 to 2 to 1.5 to 1 perhaps. With this comes adjustment of attack and release. So as I go to low ratio, I tend to speed up and speed up here. As I go to a higher ratio, I tend to slow it down and slow it down. And this, it really can do super aggressive, almost strange compression. So let's see here. So let me kind of play this here. So you see how that's almost like too slow, right? So let me do, see, this is kind of aggressive. Let me just kind of play you the range here. Okay, so this really is not, I don't think, musical, right? Because it's using like some of these attack and release settings, I think aren't really, they're not going to pair well with certain ratios, okay? But these attack and release settings pair really well with the 1.5 to 1 because it's such a gentle ratio that you really need this kind of speed. And then as I go higher in the ratio, it's just going to be like just so ridiculously aggressive. So there, it's not pairing well anymore with a 3 to 1. So we, at least for me, I slow it down. As I get higher in the ratios, I compensate in the timing as well. I was talking about this in the Audioscape video, where if I go to 20 to 1, I'm going to slow down the speed. If I go to 4 to 1, I'll speed it up. It's the same kind of thing. So if I go higher, I slow it down. As I go lower in ratio, I speed it up. See, so that's too fast, right? That sounds fantastic, you know? Okay, so if I were to get the equivalent sound, the equivalent effect, 1.5 to 1, I would probably do something like this. Okay, then the equivalent at 3 to 1 would be maybe something like this. Okay, and then the equivalent at 6 to 1, it might be something like maybe this. Right? So a little bit of punch, but some kind of gooiness. Yeah, so yeah, so you know, the sound, somebody's asking about why not EQ, and yeah, we can EQ before the outboard. That works, you know, if we want to do like a very specific type of EQ, we can totally do that, you know. But I think perhaps it's not clear, but this is the mic we're using. It's the one above the kick drum, so it's kind of an odd placement. So it's a very kind of flavor heavy mic, and that's why it sounds a little bit maybe odd. So single mic with the kit, the whole kit. So yeah, that's a little bit about the successor. You know, we have limit, we have low ratios. It's really, really versatile. Somebody asked online about the de-esser, and it really works well. The 3K is really cool. The 800 is really cool. I don't know why 800. I understand the 3K, but I don't understand the 800. Maybe it's kind of like vocal weird muddiness or something, but... Yeah, there's really just not much high end there to even do anything with, but it's really cool though. Like this 3K is just brilliant, right? Because our ears are most sensitive to that. So we can actually take a source, and when things get harsh, it'll turn it down automatically for us. It's just brilliant. 800 for snare if it's too loud. Interesting. Yeah, man, that sounds really nice. Okay, so let's kind of mix it up a little bit here. Let me just check my phone here. Yeah. Make sure everything at the house is going good here. Yeah, Aaron, I actually have only had one EQPA. But if you saw my video about the mid side, you actually could run, you could run the mid through it, and then you could go back and run the sides through it, and then, you know, play it back. And it's actually one way you can use a mono compressor in stereo and still actually have it like work, I think. Otherwise, you try to do it like left, right, it's just gonna, like a floor tom or something off to the side, it's just going to trigger it and be weird. But if you do MS, the mids, you know, it'll maintain its stereo image. So yeah, let's tell you what do you guys want me to do? What should I do? Me set up. You know, I got these Barry Dynamic M201s we could check out. These things. These sound great. Amazing on toms and snare. Tried a little bit on floor. I haven't tried it on guitar cabinet yet, but I'm curious. Not really sure what I should do next. So you let me know. What should I do? What do you want me to goof off with? Oh, and by the way, the mic automatically mutes every time I hit the space bar. So everything you're hearing is directly from the computer. There's no of my lapel mic. I'll give it a minute longer to kind of get people to maybe yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Jimmy, I do know the worst, or Wurst, as Moses Snyder would call it. I could try that. I have. What is this? Is this Omni? Yes, I have an Omni cap for the Soyuz 13s. I could try maybe the worst. I could try Studio 412, who's in the chat. He lent me his Omni SM57s, I think. So maybe we could try it with that. Try the M201s. Chad Blake's Bone. Is that what he calls it? Instead of Dick Mike, it's Bone. Sylvia Massey calls it Dick Mike. I do have load overheads, 640 TS, and they sound very nice. Okay, so tell you what, maybe we could do the Glenn Johns with the Lewitt 640, and we could maybe hook up the M201s on toms. So maybe we could do that. And if you have any requests as far as a kick mic, maybe a snare mic, I'm not sure, but let's see. I'll just kind of stash this somewhere. Tell you what, I want to do the M201 on high tom and snare because I know that's what works. It's almost like the M201. It starts to. It's got just the right amount of low end, I think, and I think that for the floor tom, it almost needs like an overly exaggeration kind of mic. And I think that M201 is too much of like a workhorse mic that can be used on lots of different things. I haven't tried it out on Guitar Cab, but it just seems to be like a really nice, like well-behaved mic that just works. I even tried it on overhead. It sounded great. This mic actually is fast. It's really fast. It's It almost sounds like a condenser. It's a dynamic mic. Okay, it looks like a pencil condenser, but it's not. It's M201 TG by Barry Dynamic, and I've always wanted to check these out for a long time. But what I liked even more, and it makes sense, is where did it go? Is the M88 on floor, and that's also a classic pairing. Is the M88 on floor, but it also M88. I mean, that's been like my go-to kick mic for years. That and the RE20. It's going to take me a minute to do this, obviously, so I guess I'll just kind of do this. I'll check back in with the chat, answer any more questions, stuff like that. $57 on Kick. You know, I'm sure if you know, I'm sure it could be done. You know, it takes me Q. Oh, thanks, Glenn. Yeah, okay. So it sounds like we have some votes for a less than stellar mic for Kick, which is difficult. Because Kick and floor tom, it's like one of those things where you want to almost exaggerate the sound versus balance the sound, okay? So like overheads, you'd balance the sound because you try to get some cymbals, some drums. And to do that, you kind of like dark mics. High tom, snare, you know. But hi-hat is a good one. Like, I mean, a bright mic on hi-hat would be terrible, I think. And SM7B actually is a great hi-hat mic. So, okay, so it sounds like I need to do 57 on the Kick. Okay, well, so yeah, it's gonna be difficult, but trying to think if there's any tricks. Okay, let me at least get my snake hooked into the preamps and all that. Okay, so we have what, 7 and 8 going into the tube, which is the weight take WT72. Oh, that's what I can do. This thing is amazing on Kick. So 57's going in that. Okay. So 5 and 6. Let's do 5 and 6 as the overheads. And that'll go into the VP28s by Cappy, courtesy of Garrett over at Studio 412. So thanks a lot, dude, for letting me borrow these and check these out. Might as well put the tom mics on the Rezo side. Okay, but I'm at least going to show you what the mics sound like. Okay, let me set up some of these mics here. It could actually be a really funny segment, though. It's like, yeah, you know, try to come up with just like stupid shit I gotta pull off. It almost doesn't work, you know. Where is all my 57 clips? Okay, there's going to be a few things I try with this 57. It's going to be a bit of a process. What is going on? We'll start with kind of the normal position that I might try any kick mic. See here. All my color coding is jacked up. Probably should have rolled cables before the live stream, but oh well. I gotta make some short cables that are all color coded. So a 3-foot brown, a 5-foot red for snare, 5-foot orange, a 4-foot yellow, you know, stuff like that. So it just kind of lays on the floor at exactly the right length. No need to wrap. It's a beautiful thing. Cool thing about color coding is you can just look from the other room and know like what input. So if you tell somebody to, hey, go like plug a mic in, you can just look at the cable color and know that like, oh, it was going into, you know, input 1 because it's brown. And then I don't know there'd be a really need for this, but you could, you know, black is 0. And then you could do brown XOR tips, which is 1. So if this was a brown tip but red cable, it would be, it'd be 12. It'd be channel 12. So then you can really, of course, yeah, whatever. Okay. I don't know. I'll just plug it in. Figure it out at the patch bay. I went up to Weather Vane Music a couple years ago, and they had to kind of like stop what they were doing. Like the whole session stopped because there was somebody needed like a stool, for example. I forget what it was. No, it was a keyboard stand, but there was a power, like a wall wart power cord going to a UAD satellite little box that, you know, powers the plugins. So the whole session had to stop to power down the computer so that when they unplug the little satellite, the UAD satellite, it doesn't like mess up the product. I just thought it was really funny that like I'm not the only one that like dumb, stupid things happen that that it's like, man, I should have done this differently or planned this differently. And then I go up to Weather Vane and it's like, oh, you have to mess with these dumb adapters too, or you gotta, you know, you have like a cable getting tied up. Where's my M88? Is it inside the... Okay, yeah. So M88, keep it in the family today. Bear dynamic on the toms. This sounds really nice, actually. Only reason why I didn't use this before on floor tom is because I needed it for kick. Kick. Now the overheads. How's everybody doing? Oh, audio by Sam. How you doing, man? Yeah, Robert. I mean, there's so much you can really do with about anything. You know, you just have to you know, listen, adjust, move in some sheets, blankets, pillows, couches, whatever. You can make any room like way more workable with just a few modifications with household items. So the idea is just keep trying and okay. Yeah, just keep trying and try to just think of the reflections. And then, okay, so no phantom. Think of the reflections, and then, you know, just say like, okay, like if I have my overhead here, I'm going to need a panel halfway up the wall because it's going to, you know, reflect. And, you know, yeah. These Lewits are why I have these, because I needed to angle them more. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any training in acoustics, but there's just so much you can do with stuff from your house, in the studio. To be honest, you know, I mentioned samples earlier and how, like, using pre-recorded samples from, like, Ocean Way, they might sound amazing, but do they really fit into the aesthetic of everything else you've recorded on that project? And it can be that, you know, you see like stock photos and, you know, there's exactly one of every nationality in the photo. There's one white guy, one Asian, you know, and it's just like, is this a real like, is this a real thing, or is this staged and the lighting is like perfect and everybody's smiling, you know? And it's like, it just doesn't feel natural. So I think you'd be better off just like doing one hits on the drums and, you know, creating your own samples basically that are imperfect. And I think that's way better. And then record real drums. And with some modifications, you can actually get a believable, workable, mixable sound. Personally, I just think that you spend more time messing with the samples to make them work. Okay. So what, 5.6 was going to be our Lewits for overhead into the VP28s. Yeah, 5.6, okay. Guess it doesn't really matter. How do you guys like to do your drums? Do you like to do it drummer's perspective or audience perspective? I just kind of do it audience perspective from you know, a few years on. I just stopped. I think it's just because the videos, you know, usually the floor tom is on the left, so in the video I gotta kind of match it. But I know, like, people say, like, you know, piano, it sounds funny if the high end isn't on the right. Okay. Yeah, 57 on kick, M201 on snare, M201 on rack tom, M88 on floor tom, Lewitt 640 TS on overhead. We're just using it as a mono channel because I just don't want to take too much time. Like, I mean, 4 preamps. I really kind of need 4 matching preamps, kind of. So I'd have to figure out, okay, like, let's do the, you know, VP28s for the front of the mic, then the maybe VP26 for the back of the mic, and then make sure that they're equal level. It's kind of a little complicated, I guess. If I just had an interface with a bunch of inputs, I just plug it in 1, 2, 3, 4 and go. But so I'll just use it as a mono mic. So we'll pick our polar pattern at the mic. I actually recently did a live recording of a band with a singing drummer. A singing drummer, and where is a stand I can use? And I used the Lewitt 640, and I was able to. I don't want to mess with this. I was able to cancel out the sound of the drums. I was able to cancel out specific drums that I needed to, which was very cool. I think it helped. I did tests of an SM7B. It was just me talking at the drums, really. I mean, it was kind of cheesy, but I did some tests, and I concluded that the SM7B, like for a singing drummer, it had more bleed than the large diaphragm condenser mic from Lewitt. Using the adjustable polar patterns, I was able to cancel out various things like the snare or whatever. I could actually dial it in, which was very cool. Yeah. The only thing is that you have to mount the microphone backwards in the Lewitts so that you can spin them around like this. But sometimes I wonder if it doesn't color the mic, though. It's like, it's kind of cramped quarters, I think. That's probably okay. I think maybe it was if I'm using the second channel, I couldn't do it. So you have to have the mic mounted like looking this way. And that's why I have a little elbow on it, so I could get the mic high without having to go super high with the boom first. I really dig these Lewitts. I mean, they're very different than anything that I own, really. But they're just very neutral. And I haven't heard the 440 Pure, I think, which is just like a cardioid, large diaphragm by Lewitt, and it's very reasonably priced. And if it's anything like these, because I think it have the same diaphragm, it's just a really good, great workhorse mic that sounds good. It's not like too colored or too aggressive or anything. So 5.6. Now, if you want something with more flavor, then I would recommend the Bomblet, a Bomblet by Soyuz. but that's going up in price. At the sub $500 range, you know, the V4 by Vanguard Audio is very nice as well. It's very comparable to a 414. It's very impressed by the V44. And the V4 is just the mono version. The V13 is the tube. Whoa, how did I overdo that, man? It's nuts. Yeah, the V13 is a tube version, Vanguard. I forget what the price is. It might be $600, something like that. I don't know. But it's reasonable for like a tube microphone. And then, but the V4 is solid state, and it did really well. Actually, better. It was like more flat and more neutral than the 414 BOS, which is the classic mic. And I think I saw a picture of them over the session for U2 back in the 80s, I think. I've been messing around with Space Pair for a while now. You know, I used to really, you know, tell people, hey, you know, try to, you know, use XY if you can, because it is really easy to use XY. I mean, it's like, it's really hard to mess up. And so I developed, one of my courses I developed to try to just give like a no-fail approach to drum recording. And I wanted to do, like, basically have a black t-shirt for drum recording. You know, what is the black t-shirt approach for drum recording that you know, if you wear a black t-shirt, you can't go wrong. If you do this, you can't go wrong. I don't know, I'm gonna call that good enough. And yeah, so XY, ORTF. But spaced pair, you start to, you know, you're capturing the sound of the drum kit at two different spots in the room, right? So in a very small room, this mic might be like a resident point for the tom, for example. Even though this mic should pick up the tom more, the room might be resonating, and it might resonate into this mic, right? If you were doing like XY, you're at least at one point, so both mics theoretically would have, you know, matching issues, you could say. Okay. Okay, let's see how the chat's doing. Oh, nice. Aaron, the V13 is my main vocal mic at the moment. Yeah, Aaron, it's the LCT 640TS. I'm just using them just as like a standard, you know, pick your polar pattern. I'm not using it with the twin system where you have the two channels coming out of the mic. But basically, from my research, is like the 87 style capsule, I think, is almost like having two mics, like two capsules. And it just is a matter of putting two circuits in the mic, really. So it's kind of interesting how it took so long for somebody to actually pull it off. But I think maybe the 87 capsules are designed that way. And so you just have to have two of the preamps, which is the circuitry in the microphone of a condenser mic. And then you have basically two channels, which is cool. Okay. Awesome. Audio by Sam, you're doing great. Nice. How's your YouTube channel going? Yeah, Audio by Sam's got a YouTube channel, so check him out. He's a really good guy. So, Audio by Sam. Clinton, okay. Yeah, I'll have to check, I'll have to check my Facebook. The older I get, the more Facebook triggers anxiety, and I just was like, screw it. But I have the Messenger like bookmarked, so I you know, I could just check my messages, and I get overwhelmed a lot actually. So I will try to answer your questions and messages. Huh? Addictive drums. We got a vote for saying that it's really nice and natural. So, plus real recorded overheads works great for them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Robert. It's a good setup. We'll see. Okay. So Aaron says he's got the 440 pure, the Lewitt. Okay, so according to Aaron, the Van Halen's cool. Okay, you guys can read the chat. Let me get going here. So kick, the weight tank VT. No. Why am I calling it VT comp? The weight tank 72 for the kick and snare. For the overheads, we have the Lewitt going into the VP28. So go ahead and turn those on. Then what do we have? We have the toms, right? Kick, snare, overhead, and toms, right? Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. It's maddening, like in a session, like when you don't know what you did in the other room, and it's like, what the hell am I doing? And you just walk around the studio. So yeah. So we actually should be patched in for toms, because that's 1 and 2. Okay. So, okay. 28 out into 2. 5, 6 out into 5, 6. Tube. The WT72, which is these, into 7, 8. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've always wanted to like show up to like a dance, like a dance class, like a professional dance class, and just be like, okay, we're gonna get going here. We're gonna get started. 5, 6, 7, 8, and just see what, you know, because they're always just yelling 5, 6, 7, 8, and then people go. It just seems like that's the only thing you gotta do really is yell 5, 6, 7, 8. And as a drummer, you yell 1, 2, 3, 4. Tom, floor. Let's see here. Overhead left, overhead right, kick and snare. Kick, snare, tom, floor, overhead, left, right. So kick is a 57, and then snare. I guess that'll be that's a fine gain choice for now, I guess. And then toms. That M88's kind of loud though. I don't know. We'll see what happens. With any luck, everything's going to actually work. Okay, I realized, how do I have phantom power? I realized that I blew a fuse in my power supply for phantom power. The lights are still lighting up, but I shouldn't have phantom power on any of those preamps. So I have to use these. So let me switch over the overheads then. Five, 6, no phantom. Okay. Preamp in, preamp left, right. Line is off. Preamp out. Five and 6, overhead left, right. Dot in 5, dot in 6. Okay. Has anybody seen the Eric Valentine video on sugar percussion? And he says that like the drum sound in the video is only one mic, and it's just mind blowing. If you have a chance, look it up. Sugar Percussion, the drum company, and it's Eric Valentine, and it's just unreal how good it sounds with one mic. You'd never guess how. I mean, I still don't know how he did it. I mean, it just sounds so good. Okay, I think we should be good. I don't think you guys would have heard what I just did because I didn't have it monitoring, I don't think. Sorry about that. Everything else, gain-wise, looks good. Let's see what we have. Okay, so first thing I do is I usually check the overheads. Let's kind of see what we're dealing with here. Oh, nice. See, I don't know how you guys heard it because it was recording, but I didn't have the software monitoring enabled. Aaron, it's really here and there. It's such a specific thing, but it's incredibly cool what it does. Referring to the plasma racks behind me here. Incredibly cool. Nothing else can do what it does. But again, you know, like with a kick mic, you know, it has like a use. So the more something is specialized, the less of a workhorse it becomes. But the EQs actually sound really nice on it. And it has other things like the tremolo and like LFO stuff. So it's a really cool sound sculpting device here. I should do a live stream with it on drums, for example. Wow. Wow. That sounds really nice. Okay. Go down to mono here. I'm going to check the phase relationship of the kick mic to the overheads, listening in mono, and let's see if they're working together. Let me just loop it here. I think it sounds better flipped. So because that's a low-end source, well, floor tom, it can be a mix, because then it's like, well, which one do you want to leave right side up? But so what I'm going to do is, instead of flipping the kick, I'll flip the overheads. Now, it's even more confusing is that you could say, okay, cool, well, I'll just flip it at the preamp. And you could do that if you need your monitors to be correct, right? So if it's bad enough, like snare top and bottom, for example. I do it at the preamp because if you're going to mix that in, you want it to sound okay. The drummer's not going to be able to hear the difference of kick fighting with overheads, but yeah, so for this instance, we could just say, we'll just flip it at the DAW and just, you know, it's hard to know, like, okay, was the preamp correct? And then I have to reflip it and undo my work and my test. Hear that boxy sound, that like hoo, that it's like specifically it's like right here, kind of. Okay. So here's it correct. Hear that? It's kind of that like that kind of sound. So that's cueing me in that it's not correct this way, it's correct this way. Same thing with snare. Okay, pretty obvious. Okay, we get the meat of the drum. Yeah, sugar percussion. Man, sound amazing. I really don't know how. I don't know how he got that sound. So, you know, half of the battle with a good drum sound is just getting everything in phase, right? Oh, cool. Thanks, 518 Freak Show. I'm glad it's helpful. Let's see here. You know, that's not exactly in phase either. You know, it's a little weird. Let me see. I've been messing with this Melda Production. It's a free plugin, and it's kind of hard to use at first. It does this like weird stuff. But I have a default saved. Where is it? VST. If I choose the VST. Oh, come on. Why are you doing this? Okay. Okay, the non-VST. There we go. So I don't know how I got it to do this, but it does it across the spectrum here, and it allows me to adjust the phase. Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm glad I'm helpful to you guys. Which clave is that? 3-2 or 2-3? That works right there. So I like that better. Okay, that's a lot better. Okay. So next up is Tom. Let's kind of give it a little boost. I don't usually loop this. I usually kind of like play a little bit longer, but I was kind of concerned that there's just like dead air and silence when I went in there, so I just like was super quick with this. very nice. Okay, we could try the okay, sometimes it's easier to hear it when it's worse than flip it. Yeah, really nice. Floor. Again, I'm listening in mono. Okay, over here. Oh yeah, huge difference. You know, like a lot of times you can't hear, it's like a toss-up, but sometimes you really nail it and it's like, oh wow, it's a huge difference there. I don't know, maybe that's a testament to those Lewitts. I mean, I don't know if they're just picking up more of the floor tom. It doesn't necessarily sound that rich in the low end, but really obvious. You know, it's just really obvious. Hey John, how you doing, man? Okay, let's go back into stereo. Then the next question is which side am I on? Is my overhead left actually overhead left? Okay, we're doing drummer's perspective, I guess. Yeah, check and phase against the overheads, exactly. And we listened in mono, and also the Melda production free. It's a free plugin called M Freeform Phase, and if you can get it to, I don't know how I got it, but it doesn't. You can do individual frequencies, and I just did it like a whole, like across the spectrum kind of thing. Okay. Why does that sound so weird? Is it just drummer's perspective? Yeah, this mic wasn't even on. I think the mic was still like turning on. That's why it sounds weird. Yeah, whatever, Garrett. Drummer's perspective. You know, floor tom's better on the left. Everybody knows floor tom's better on the left. Okay. Let's see what this sucker can do here. Nice bastardized drum kit. I didn't know my drum kit was a bastard. So the overhead sounds a little too wide to me. Yeah, I made sure to throw down those damn headphones. Take that, you bastard drum set. Okay. Huh. You know, I don't find that high tom needs any tape. I mean... So we'll do maybe a slight boost to the kick. Let's see here, tom. Yeah, we could do a little more juice on the high tom, I think. Attenuate the overheads a touch. Okay, so as far as a room mic goes, I don't know if I am going to do a room mic, but let me try a different position on this kick mic here. I was thinking of Daru Jones on that a little bit. Ah, so the kick sounds good, huh? I'll have to listen. You hear that? Flip the overheads and all of a sudden our snare gets hacked as well. Yeah, I'm not feeling the kick. Yeah, let me keep messing around with this kick here, okay? I mean, it's not done yet. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll have to make sure I do the software monitoring. So, you know, what I'm doing is I'm turning down the kick because I need to match the level of the kick in the overheads. So listen to the level of the kick and the overheads first. Okay, it's not that loud, so we need to kind of match that. Okay, and now with it matched, now we can really make the mics fight or make them work together. See that? That to me is out of phase. So if we work with that, find the worst portion and then flip it. Kind of hard to hear, but it's that kind of it's like the kick only has super low end and only top end, and there's nothing that like really hits you in the chest. That's kind of the out of phase sound. See right there? You know, let's do something else. Let's do we're gonna send the one that sends the signal does not move. The one that receives gets adjusted. So we're going to receive. We don't want to get the left and right out of sync. So I'll just send from there. So we're not going to mess with this. We're only adjusting this. What this is going to do, this is going to basically align these. I'm just really curious what this will do. Damn, that actually worked. Like I can, yeah, thanks Robert for hanging out with us. You know, it's subtle, okay? It's not a great kick mic. But when I flip the polarity, you can hear a difference. Okay, well, I don't know if this is against the rules or not, but I have 57 on kick. So I want to go with that. But I'm also going to add some EQ. So it's a decent sound, it's not great. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm looking over at this patch bay. How in the world am I getting a signal for snare? That's very strange. 7/8. 7, 8. I don't understand. I somehow have the tube out plugged into the DAW out. So unless it's getting normaled and getting passed through Outboard before recording, but DAW out, I don't know, but we have signal, so whatever. 8 and 8. Oh, right. Okay. So if I need to... yeah, okay. So part of the problem is that I haven't normaled. I can't mix and record at the same time because I need to record into 8. And if I plug a cable into that, then it overrides. But if I just leave it alone, it'll play out. Yeah, so here I have the EQPA patched in. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I have it boost, really heavy boost, kind of a top end boost, just to kind of like, you know, round out the attack to be something other than just a bunch of 3K. I thought about actually cutting it though. You guys want bluey? Sure. Audioscape, Blue Stripe, the 76A. Yeah, so this is sounding good, I think. You know, what would be amazing for this actually is the optical big bottom. Everybody likes big bottom. Where is this? Is this thing even plugged in? It's gotta be the most hilarious product name. Oro Exciter, an optical big bottom. Yeah, well, I don't have the Blackline Audio Bluey. Would love to check it out, but so yeah, I don't have the Aphex big bottom really. I don't know. I'm not gonna mess with it right now, but it does a really good job of this sort of thing. But we could easily use EQ from inside the DAW as well. I don't have the latest, but yeah, that actually sounds pretty good. I think we might need both to even make this usable, though. This could sound really nice. Sorry, I realized I was on the rack the whole time I was dialing in the plugin. What is this? Compressor? Let's do the compressor first. I have not really used Omnis as tom mics to get cymbals. However, the Soyuz 13s are actually really nice in that regard. Like the bleed is very, very pleasing. So I want to try the WT comp. Okay. Right. So my mic preamp was hooked in. I had to unhook that to get this going. I'll send a little bit more. Seven, 5. Okay, that's what's up. So instead of 7, it needs to be 8. And we're just going to rename this here so we don't get confused. Oh, come on. EQPA. And this is the WT comp. You know, what's really cool, follow these guys on Instagram. Audioscape and Locomotive Audio, Eric, and Charlie. You know, people behind the gear, I think, matter just as much as the gear, okay? Because it's their practice of making the gear, it's how they treat each other, it's how they do business, right? Is, you know, they're really respectable people. And I'm glad to have them around in the world. You know, Charlie compliments weight tank gear all the time on Instagram. Like they're truly supportive of each other, and they're competitors. And I don't know, I really like good people behind companies. So yeah, let's see how this sounds. Man, that sounds really nice. Let me try the successor in mono. Come on, 6. There we go. I think this was okay gain stage wise. Let me check. That's nice. Okay, it just needed some punch because it's an outside kick mic. You know, the inside kick mic, if it was the case, you know, maybe the 76A, but all of a sudden that just pops. That works. Okay, so that sounds actually pretty cool. Yeah. So that's 57 on a kick. I don't know if that's cheating because I had a lot of help, but I think that with it aligned correctly, it works. Let me do it without anything here. You know, if I were to mix this in a totally different way, starting from scratch, let's say, you know, I could like reach for EQ, right? So let's go for like 80 hertz, something like that. But I love this tilt. So the tilt's kind of cool for sure. You know what, let's do one with just the tilt. I mean, graphically, it looks so funny, like, to add on to that. So let's just do that, and then let's deal with these mids. Does anybody have a favorite frequency? I don't know if, you know, it's been a while, like, just the anxiety and Facebook and stuff. You know, I feel so much better and more relaxed when I'm not on Facebook, but I don't know if it's still around, but there used to be a audio engineering shitposting group, and it was so funny, the stuff that people say. And it might have been like favorite frequencies, and everybody was like pitching in on their hated frequency and favorite frequency, right? And I think my most hated frequency is like 150 hertz. It just destroys kick drums constantly. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to track a whole song, but, you know. I actually do have content that I can show in future streams. Full band recordings, I can do some mixing and stuff. You know what would really help this is some saturation of some sort. Cush audio. Sorry. I should make sure to switch the cameras back. So I added some saturation. I added this EQ. It's ridiculous. I mean, this is like crazy. So I have tilt. I have this, which is ridiculous. Now I have this. You know what also is really, really cool is the Cush Audio Ready. You know, it in the real world, you'd think, oh, it's for bass, but in plugin world, it's like, yeah, let's put it on, you know, vocal or kick or whatever. Loud on the liftoff. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check out their gear yet. Okay, so that is, that's adding some low end as well. Definitely more natural. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. How about this? You know, it's like a different type of approach, really. I mean, it's there. It's just more subtle and more sophisticated, you could say. Something I don't like about the kick still. Okay, not bad. Yeah, Gregory is a really cool dude. You know, we've been talking over email, just like philosophy stuff. I was like, dude, I just really want to like talk with you some, like pick your brain and hear your thoughts. My gosh, look at that. Yeah, that's great. That's very nice. What am I looking for? Silica. That's what it is. You know, I don't know that. I don't know that I like that. I'm not sure. You know, with kick, it's one of those things where it either works or it doesn't. You know, anybody else find that? Like with compression, especially, it's like it works or it doesn't. Sli-Fi. Let's try this. Distressor emulation, also by Kush Audio. I think that works. Oh my gosh, listen to that. Okay, snare. Okay, so we're just kind of, doing a little drum mix here. Access EQ is kind of like API, type EQ, style EQ. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just trying to add more sustain to the tom, basically. I just kind of sweeten it a little bit with some EQ. Put it ahead of the deflector, just to, I don't know. A lot of compression is kind of a good thing. I see it, at least on a tom. It's not going to, like, make it worse off, I think. Okay. How you guys doing? You good? I'm gonna move to floor tom. A little bit of a boost. And there went away my evening, or there went my evening without even noticing. Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of how it happens in the studio, I guess, right? Oh yeah, oh yeah, that sounds good. It's great. When you add that sweetening EQ to really kind of lock it in, be like, it's good, but it just could use some sweetening for flavor, some 100 hertz, 80, 70, whatever on the toms. Yeah, I dig that. We need more clarity. A little less meat on that snare. And really set this off is to, you know, you can hear those toms ring. And that really, it really can kind of detract from the drum sound. So my favorite way is to copy each and then have a copy of this track that's actually slightly ahead of the real track that we hear in the mix, and the slightly ahead version triggers the gate of the real tom track. We don't hear the other tom, it's just for triggering the gate, and it kind of makes it open. But I'm gonna just edit these real quick because it's easy enough to do. And a lot of times I'll put a gate on a kick, just to clean it up a little bit. Like, not, you know, perfect. I don't like kill the kick, but you know, it is helpful to kind of clean it up. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Like, it was cool how, like, yeah, forget his name. The one guy took off, and then it was like several people are like, "Hey, we'll see you later. Have a good night." It's like, we'll miss you. It's like, you know, you got a cool hang going here. It's pretty sweet. I'm sure there's a faster way to do this, you know, but I've been using Studio One for about a year, and I read the manual as needed. I mean, reading the manual, you know, just like, unless I understand the point of the instruction, like, I don't learn it, but if I need it, then I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's how you do it. So yeah, as needed, I've been learning, and it takes a while, you know, it's just, you gotta learn a whole system of things. I mean, I'm not too concerned about my editing job here, but gee whiz, really zooms in fast. I love this zoom feature. It reminds me of Ableton because that's kind of where I did a lot of stuff, like very early on. Okay, whatever. See how that sounds. Wow, that sounds great. Now let's do some drum bus compression. You know, we've gone all this way. We might as well. See that? Just that fast. And we're good to go. I love it. Wow, those toms sound amazing. Maybe we need to do like a half and half mix. maybe I'm a little over compressed on that overhead because I can hear the ride kind of coming in a little too kind of like a little too crushed. You can widen it up a little bit. Those Lewitt sound really nice. Like it's a nice clean high end that isn't brittle at all, but it's all there, you know? I don't know what the deal is. It's like that snare is maybe a little dark. Tell you what, I could add a tilt. Yeah. So a key thing to notice, here is, you know, as you do more and more, you usually have to thin out the drums because stuff is in phase, it's working together. If that's not the case, then you might want to check the relationships of what you got going on. So again, here's our setup here. Outside, outside kick mic with the 57 stock. We have Lewitt 640s as overheads. We have M201 on rack tom, M88 by Beyerdynamic on floor tom, M201 on snare. So let's see here. So an interesting thing, you know, I have so much low end going on here that, you know, I'm having a hard time with the clarity. So, you know, you could reach for this, you could use tilt EQ, right? I've been fighting it basically. And, you know, to be honest, it's probably because the mics have done a great job capturing the low end. It's all there. We got plenty of meat to work with. This is not a wimpy drum sound. The chat keeps flagging bastard as like a possible thing, and I keep saying show it. So yeah, I mean, we got plenty of meat to work with. We just need a little more clarity, and we don't have a bottom mic. I could probably just set one up, you know, just set up a bottom mic and be done with it. That would solve this actually. But assuming we can't do that, let's say, you know, we could try to add high end, but we could attack it from a different way, and we'll do it with a slow attack compressor. So we'll slow down the release, which will also help give us that kind of attack at the very beginning. Very nice. Yeah, you know, I had a drum instructor that he hated timpani. I don't understand, but he like went on this rant about the bastardization of drums and how the kettle drums were a bastardization of of real drums, and I'm like, okay, can you play me a cool groove and like teach me something, you know? It was just really dramatic, basically. maybe we're over compressing this by a touch. Let's see. I mean, it's slamming pretty good. Yeah, it's like that snare is so full. I had a friend, he was like, dude, your drums are like just ridiculously in phase and stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, you know, like hopefully they are. But he was just like remarking in the snare how he had to like take some out. I'm like, well, cool. That's probably a good problem. So I don't know, I'll take a little bit out of the overheads. Maybe that's part of it. Wow. That sounds actually pretty good. What do I use even? You know, what's actually really amazing is a DBX 904. You can get them for like $50 and they sound really nice. And they are more of an expander than a gate. So they're very gentle sounding and it's very, very musical, and they're very easy to use. I mean, you gotta be really careful with this. Most of the time will just about destroy a kick drum if you're not careful. I mean, there's such a nice, such a nice quality about the kick. And, you know, add in the gate, you kind of lose that like gooey low end. Although it seems like I'm kind of dribbling the beater on the head. And I even kind of like to do it on the snare. only just to like make the ghost notes a little less loud. Yeah. I have a commander, actually. It's right back there. Yeah, I have the commander. Hold on a second. Is it plugged in? Okay. And what? Channel 4? Yeah, input output channel 4. Question is if I have the right adapter. Oh, this crap drives me nuts. Man, so close. I'll have to do it next time. So yeah, that's actually sounded pretty good. I mean, I wish the kick and snare were a little clearer, but just kind of a quick and dirty effect, I guess. Snare. know if I like that. It's just too it's too obvious that it's like a kind of a digital thing. Let's see what this is here. Yeah, I don't know if I like that either. Let's see here. Where are all my IRs? I have no idea. It's like trying to switch gears to like art right into science or math, and it's just a different part of your brain. Okay, so yeah, I can kind of hear my ears are just kind of getting shot, but yeah, let me know what you think. Man, a lot of people over. I mean, 1,700 people over time. That's a lot of people. But yeah, comment. What do you think of this? Was this cool? Should I keep doing this? I'm curious. Awesome. Thanks, Garrett, Aaron. Yeah, I'll have to have like a track queued up in kind of a usable way that's ready to go. It's not the best drum sound that I've gotten. It's almost like the snare is, I wonder if it's like distorted or something. Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to shut it down, I think, call it a day, but yeah. Yeah, thanks, 518 Freak Show. Yeah, the Melda plugins are really unique. you know, it's like a free plugin, and I was checking out their like drum replacement thing, and that's how I kind of caught on to even that they had plugins. You know, like I just didn't know about them. So yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how to make it sound decent. Is layers of EQ. We have this. Have this. We have saturation, which is actually not in use. We have saturation here that's in use. Sorry, let me go back. We have this is kind of the first step. Actually, we have this. This is aligning it with our overheads, you know, phase. You know, we could actually just like, I've experimented with lining it up, and you know, it actually can work too. But we have this. We have this. Then this. Oh, we have this too. Yeah, so we have a lot of EQ going on here. And then we're not using this, but we're using this. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. And keep in mind, that's an outside kick mic, okay? Once again. Let me go in there and I'll zoom into the mic so you can kind of get a better look at what we've been working with here. And if you're watching this on the replay, then cool. So we got the floor tom, the high tom. Okay, floor tom, high tom, snare, M201, and then kick mic. It's pretty crazy it's that far out. And then the overheads, space pair overheads. Yeah, how to make a 57 work on a kick is make it sound like nothing like the 57. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the case, I guess. So yeah, thanks guys for joining me. It's really cool. We'll keep doing this, and it's really cool to get feedback and to, you know, I kind of do a lot of this as is. Like I play around with stuff, and it was like, well, why not just, you know, do a live stream as I'm just kind of playing around and practicing and doing stuff. So anyways, see you later. Bye.